Everyone has had to deal with some sort of bad habit in their life. Even if you don't think that you personally have had a bad habit, you know someone that has. So this speech will be relevant to everyone because we've all dealt with some kind of bad habit in our life. And so I've spent over 2 weeks researching over this topic of bad habits, and I will today be telling you what a habit is, how to identify a bad one, and how to break a bad habit. So first, you need to know what a habit is. A habit is something that you do over and over in a similar or identical way. It can happen weekly, monthly, or even yearly. These things just keep occurring. And they can be physical, which is something that you do, like a behavior, or it can be the way you think, and so that would be mental. There are positive or good habits, which is something that would benefit your life, that would help you achieve certain goals that you have in your life, that help you just keep attaining and growing further in your life in positive ways. There also are bad habits, which are things that will negatively affect your life and will hinder you from making those goals that you have in your life. And so next, I will tell you how you can identify that you have a bad habit in your life. And some ways that you will know this is that if it's negatively affecting your life, obviously, and maybe if it's something that's physical, you could be going to the doctor more. That could show that you have a bad habit that's in your life because you have to go to the doctor or something. Maybe you have friends that keep coming to you and they're concerned and they are telling you constantly about this certain bad habit that you have, and they are concerned about you and are trying to help you out, and so that can be another warning sign. And so I have an example of a bad habit that I have kind of, I guess, have seen in my life over the past 2 years, and it's eating ice, which I wouldn't eat it unless I was in basketball season. So when basketball season came around, right after basketball practice, I'd go home, I'd eat ice, and then I would do this because it would be like a stress reliever for me. I don't really know how, but it just was, and it'd be like a comfort for me. And then my parents and my sisters always be like, Maggie, stop eating ice because it's bad for your teeth. And they're like, you're going to get dentures when you're like 25. And I was like, oh no, you guys are whatever, and I wouldn't listen to them. But then, my teeth would kind of get sore, and I'd be like, wow, maybe I should stop eating ice. And so that's an example of me finding that I have a bad habit in my life because of my sisters and my parents always telling me, you need to stop eating ice. And so finally, according to the NIH Medline Plus newspaper, which I researched, they gave me a few ways that I'm going to share with you to break a bad habit. First is to avoid temptations, which is just taking that bad habit and just fully removing it from your life. Don't go into situations that have that bad habit in it, or into like ways that you could actually be around that would tempt you. Also, you can replace that unhealthy habit with a healthy habit, like instead of doing that, go exercise or go outside, or maybe hang out with your family, or just find different activities to do. Also, to prepare mentally, so make a plan that you're not going to do that certain thing and that you're going to stick to it, and make sure you fulfill your plan. Also, enlist support, so have people that hold you accountable, and hold yourself accountable also, because that's crucial. Because if you can't trust yourself and you know that you're not going to keep doing your plan, then it's not going to work out. And also, lastly, reward yourself. So make the goal that you're not going to keep doing that bad habit and fit it in with a good habit, but reward yourself so that you want to keep going in your habit. And so there is a habit loop that I'm going to show you, which is from the book Charles Duhigg, and The Power of Habit is his book. And the habit loop is a system of 3 things, which starts with a cue, which could be a time of day or location. And so for me, in my ice eating bad habit, it would be right after, it would be during basketball season. And so then you go into a routine, which for me was, I'd come home from practice, right after practice, I'd get a cup, fill it up with ice, put some water in it, drink the water, and then I'd chew the ice. And so then it goes into the reward. And for me, my reward was that comfort of eating ice and relieving stress through eating ice. And so it just keeps going. And so the reward is the most important part because that is what keeps you going, and that's what keeps you doing that bad habit. And so, because you want that reward. So if you can figure out what your reward is, so for me it was comfort and getting stress relieved and stuff. And so if I can figure out what my reward is and change my routine, so instead of eating ice, maybe just have a cold drink and don't even put ice in it. But it's cold enough so that I don't need ice. And therefore I wouldn't even need have the temptation of eating that ice. And so just make sure you know what your reward is, because that will allow you to change your routine, which will allow you to change your bad habit to a good one. And so now I have told you what a habit is and how to identify a bad habit in your life and how to break, in some ways, to break a bad habit. So by taking these simple steps in your life to change the way that you are doing this bad habit, you can change it fairly quickly. So now you know what you need to do, and it's not that hard to change, so don't wait to change it.